So then we have to ask ourselves, if some of these networks are in fact transacting trillions of dollars per year on top of this network, what would the value of the network or the token be? And that's what's super exciting. What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. So we finally have a little price action for the Bitcoin price chart on the weekly time frame, currently up to $33,000. Coming from the low last month in September around 24,700, we've actually wicked as high as 34,000 plus, so over 38%, and Bitcoin almost increasing by $10,000. So it's great to see that we finally broke out of this range after roughly 200 plus days. So Bitcoin currently is above this level. We want to see a weekly candle body closure over this level, flipping that 31,800 into support. Now, one concern is Bitcoin doesn't have a wick and has never drawn a wick at the bottom of this candle around 29,000. And it doesn't always have to come back down. We can even see this impulse back in January of this year when we got this big move. We really didn't have much of a wick. It's just like a little micro wick down there. So why is Bitcoin pumping, and why are we starting to see some buy volume coming back into this market, which is great to see? First up, shared by Bitcoin Magazine, we have BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust is now listed on the DTCC's website. Now, this organization, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, was the Federal Reserve before the Fed even existed. And what's cool about this listing is right here, which clears NASDAQ trades. And this guy has a great question: how long on average from this point to an active ETF? We have James right here, a CFA, saying there's no set time. It could literally be days, months, or years theoretically. Now for me, I believe that there's going to be spot ETFs for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and even other crypto projects in the future, and this is going to bring more liquidity to the ecosystem. So with BlackRock and a spot ETF, whether it gets approved this year or even next year, I think it's going to happen, and I do believe that Bitcoin goes to an all-time high price regardless. I know the bear market sucks, but we have to keep perspective and don't just focus on current price action. When Bitcoin was 3,000, I believed it would reach an all-time high price. I still believe it today. It's just a question of when. Now, because this Bitcoin ETF is BlackRock's, it doesn't necessarily mean that BlackRock is just going to have a huge position in Bitcoin. What it means is for their investors, as a custodian, they have the option to now buy Bitcoin. So for me, people worried about manipulation, markets are already manipulated today. I would much rather have on-ramps and bridges for additional liquidity and plugging into new markets and new capital. And the really cool thing about BlackRock and other funds, we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars, about $16 trillion to $17 trillion of funds are actually interested in a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, Larry Fink believes he should be 90% in equities and then leave 10% for other markets. So just like in the previous video, if they allocated 1%, 3%, or even 5% of that $16-17 trillion, that's a couple $100 billion in buy volume right there. Now, when Bitcoin exploded last cycle from its cycle low up to the all-time high price, this was almost a 2,100% move, or well over a 20x return. During this time, venture capitalists, investors, and companies were investing billions of dollars into blockchain. Then we had one black swan after another. We had 3AC, we had Celsius, we had Luna collapse, we had FTX, and all of these things gave the crypto asset class a very bad reputation during this bear market, perfectly timed. So a lot of investments slowed down, things dried up, and markets are very dry. When Bitcoin goes to an all-time high price, whether early 2024 or after, there's going to be an even bigger flood of investors in the space. We have organizations like R3 working with NASDAQ for years, getting into capital markets and building institutional-grade digital asset infrastructure. So tokenization is the future, DeFi is the future, new markets and industries, supply chain, insurance, all of these things are going to be leveraging and connecting to blockchain to some degree. And not all of these public networks, any crypto asset class, are going to solve every single problem, but a lot of them will interoperate with existing markets, new marketplaces, and even plug into hybrid solutions. So the value that's going to be transacted over these public networks will be growing exponentially over the coming years, whether that's by a factor of 10 or even 100x higher than today. So then we have to ask ourselves, if some of these networks are in fact transacting trillions of dollars per year on top of this network, what would the value of the network or the token be? And that's what's super exciting. We also had some huge news today shared by James Filan, breaking: Judge Torres signs the order officially dismissing the case against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. So that's great to see for XRP, up over 4% today. And yes, I still believe that XRP creates an all-time high price, not financial advice, I just believe it's a matter of when. If XRP followed what other assets have done in the previous cycle, reaching different retracements or extensions, to reach where XLM reached around the 786, this would be about $2.70 for XRP. Cardano reached just under the 2618, so roughly $7 for XRP if we hit that similar level. And of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum, two of the largest assets in the entire space, that would still be around $9 to $11. I disagree with anybody that doesn't think XRP is capable to hit an all-time high price. We went over $3 in 2018, and there weren't many exchanges. The global crypto user base was significantly smaller, there was not an NFT ecosystem, liquidity was low, even XRP or ODL today wasn't even live. So for me, looking at XRP as one of the only digital assets in the entire crypto market that has regulatory clarity as not a security is a big deal. All it takes is for more PSPs or payment service providers to leverage ODL and connect to more banks. And looking at the weekly price chart for Bitcoin, we have some moving averages. So we have the yellow, the blue, and the red. This is the 50, 100, and 200 weekly MA. For a chance of a decent market retracement or a true shot at a new Bitcoin all-time price, the price action has always been above these three moving averages before a huge run. Just like 2013, even the 2017 supercycle. Now this retracement before March 2020 was one of the only times that we actually broke and closed a lot of weekly candle bodies above before falling back down, but we got the momentum back after the Bitcoin halving and did a nice rally. And currently the Bitcoin price chart is peaking above all three moving averages again, so hopefully bringing back some bullish momentum. So here we are right around 33,000 right now above all three of these moving averages. So really just great to see that we're back above this red line, the 200 MA, because it's historically acted as important support. And just remember back in 2018, we had Robbie Mitchnick and Susan Athey write a fundamental valuation framework for crypto assets highlighting XRP and giving some estimates on the low end of success and then the high success case. So Robbie Mitchnick used to work for Ripple and he was later hired by BlackRock as their head of digital assets. And then Susan Athey, we've covered her a bunch over the years. She also attended the Bilderberg conference, I believe that's the name, years ago, and this is some of the most connected, wealthy individuals on the planet. So if you're an XRP holder, you definitely already know these two. And this valuation model considers transaction demand, storage demand, supply, diving into both low and high estimates of transaction volume. So even valuing Bitcoin between 45,000 and 93K, and then XRP at $6 or even $32 with the high success case. Even if you're super conservative or don't have any faith in XRP, I still see us breaking into a new all-time price. And when we're looking at these markets, you have to speculate. I know a lot of people just say, wow, that's speculation. Well, yeah, absolutely. As long as you're combining speculation with actual information, estimates, stats, then it's not blind speculation. Blind speculation is a bad thing. We're trying to use all the information we have today to know where future value or a lot of money could go in the future. And all of the opinions that I've had over the years are all based off of these stats that we've gone over in multiple videos, including Swift's estimates of tokenized volumes and markets being 24 trillion by 2027, or BCG's tokenization estimates for globally illiquid assets by 2030 reaching 16 trillion, or the goal of tokenizing 10% of the world's GDP. Even if it's only 5%, that is still trillions and trillions of dollars. Like I said, bear markets suck, but all we can do is look at different technological shifts that we've seen in the past. Cell phones took about 30 years to reach 1 billion users. Linux took about 20 years. Cloud computing and storage took about 10 to 15 years. So we have Bitcoin created in 2009. However, store value blockchain awesome, but it was not smart contracts actually being able to be used by businesses for enterprise adoption of DLT. It's a wonderful store value and it changed the game and created this asset class. Ethereum's network went live in 2015, bringing smart contracts and dApps. And only after 2015 did enterprises actually begin exploring applications of this. So we surpassed 400 million users. I'm sure that users or daily users now are much lower until Bitcoin and the crypto asset class goes higher, but we can see that we're projected to still reach 1 billion users by 2027. I believe there's going to be a good portion of those 5 billion internet users using Web3 applications as infrastructure improves. And some of the highest ROI investments were made by contrarians and contrarian investors. You think the world's greatest investors cared when the majority of people, or 90% of people, thought they were wrong? Nope, that's what they want to see. We have Crypto Eddy sharing XRP as a payment bridge is now in 40 plus countries. We have Rock Bank, a Ripple partner, released a social finance framework and they position their use as part of financial literacy and inclusion. And we can see leveraging RippleNet to mitigate cash vulnerability and enhance access. And Wrath Economan is another absolute must follow. He shares tons of information, sometimes he'll connect the dots, add his speculation and the reason for thinking that. And last but not least guys, we have iTrustCapital linked in the top of this YouTube video description and in the pinned comment. I've had a Roth IRA with iTrustCapital for over 3.5 years. There's no monthly fees, there's no custodial fees, there's no other fees besides a 1% transaction fee if you trade or buy and sell. And for some perspective, if I were to buy $1,000 of Ethereum on Coinbase, the fee would be roughly 3.8%. So by leveraging a Roth IRA, all of my gains and profits are 100% tax-free, so I'm paying 0% in capital gains. If you'd like to learn more, we have a playlist titled iTrustCapital on my channel. And investment accounts aren't for everybody. I personally don't like a 401k. I got rid of that with my employer years ago and I actually put it into crypto too. But for me, iTrustCapital was an absolute no-brainer. I had an existing Roth IRA in the S&P 500. It was doing well, 7% or 10% some years. But in reality, to double your money, that's taking a long time. Now, if you have long-term faith in the equities market and you see stocks climbing consistently decade over the big picture, there's nothing wrong with that. But since iTrustCapital is completely free and there's only a 1% transaction fee if I buy or sell, if I just put my money there and set it for 10 years, I could have crypto exposure and let it sit there for years without paying anything. And knowing this company was valued at approximately $1.3 billion and they leverage a qualified custodian, if iTrustCapital disappears or goes bankrupt, which I don't see happening, I still have access to my capital. They're not lending your capital out, and my crypto assets are stored in enterprise-grade cold storage. I can't say the same for almost every single other exchange or even wallet that exists. So if you're interested to even create a small nest egg account, be sure to check out the link below. Hope you enjoyed, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate if you could hit the like button, let me know your thoughts down below, and my link tree is linked in the top of this YouTube video description, with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.